Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dennis G. Punteras, second year BIS Criminology, Section Bravo. I will be discuss the trace evidence. The term trace evidence is generally thought of as any type of evidence occurring in sizes so small that it can be transferred or exchanged between two surfaces without being noticed. The purpose of trace evidence, the ultimate goal of the trace evidence examiner is to determine whether an unknown sample is similar to a known, or a fiber found at a crime scene and compared to a suspected. Determining whether the known and the unknown are similar may help investigators link a suspect, a victim, and a crime scene. How does trace evidence solve the crimes? It helps solve crimes by linking people, places, and things involved in a crime by the microscopic materials they transfer through contact. Here are some examples. A hair found on a hat leaf at a scene compared to a known hair sample from a suspect. What is the trace evidence summary? Trace evidence analysis is the discipline of forensic science that deals with the minute transfers of materials that cannot be seen with the unaided eye. The handling and analysis of trace evidence requires care and specialized techniques. And what best describes trace evidence? Trace evidence is best described as any piece of evidence that has to be collected by scenes of crime officers or SOCO and places a suspect at the scene of a crime.
Trace evidence. At the crime scene, there are often tiny fragments of physical evidence at a crime scene, such as hairs, fibers from clothing or carpeting, or pieces of glass that can tell the story of what happened. They are known as trace evidence can help be transferred when two objects come into contact or when small particles are dispersed as a result of an action or movement. This evidence can be used to reconstruct an event or indicate the presence of a person or thing. Scientists examine the physical, optical, and chemical properties of trace evidence and employ a variety of tools to locate and compare samples as well as to identify the sources of common origin of each item. The significance of trace evidence in context of crime scene investigation is sometimes overstated, with more individualized evidence such as DNA or fingerprints taking procedure. Trace evidence can reveal to about what happened to a scene, such as whether an item or body moved, whether someone was assaulted from behind or the side. In forensic science examine evidence to help solve crimes and identify perpetrators and victims. Evidence is defined as the microscopic or microscopic exchange of particles caused by interaction of objects or people. Every crime scene contains traces of evidence left by the victim and perpetrator as they interact with their surroundings. So, what exactly is trace evidence in the field of forensic science? It employs this microscopic silence. Trace evidence is the material left behind when two objects or people interact. It may be microscopic, like skin, cell, or microscopic, like a hair. All trace evidence is small enough to have been transferred during the interaction between the perpetrator, victim, and the environment in which the crime scene was committed. How important is the trace evidence? Trace evidence is incredibly important in helping authorities solve cases. Every law enforcement and investigative body uses trace evidence as a part of their course or investigation.
Good morning, sir. I am Janavel Escalania from BS Criminology 2, Section Bravo. Our discuss for today was all about trace evidence. What is trace evidence? Trace evidence minute amounts of substances transferred by physical contact. Every contact leaves a trace. These are common forms of trace evidence, which is hair, textile, fibers, paint and chips, glass fragments, and bloodstain. There are examples of trace evidence that may be transferred between people, objects, or the environment during a crime. Investigator can potentially a suspect and victim to a mutual location through trace evidence. These types of evidence is usually not visible to the eye and requires specific tools and techniques to be obtained. Due to this, trace evidence is often overlooked and investigators must be trained to detect.
Good day everyone, I'm Jamar Brandi Makatuno from BS Criminology 2 Section Bravo. Today I'm going to topic about trace evidence. So, trace evidence. Why is trace evidence used? Every cases potentially has trace evidence to consider, and investigators must use their knowledge, training, and experience to thoroughly examine the scene, identifying and properly collecting the most probative evidence, including trace disexamination, including focus search for a careful collection of anything that may yield clues or the potential for identifying case players. So, tiny fibers can be seen and collected using a variety of techniques such as alternate light source. In this image, a tiny fibers fluoresces and is early gathered from a article of clothing. So, an examination for tracing evidence could happen at a crime scene on victim or suspect's clothing or location the victim or suspect may have been recently. For example, from examiners may look for ligature fibers in the case of a struggling to identify what might have been used to commit the crime, or gunshot reduce around a bullet hole to indicate the distance between a holster and a victim. The body, clothing, and jewelry of a crime victim are investigated from trace materials using the same precision method as would be used at a crime scene. In the investigation of a crime scene, investigators must prioritize what items will be collected and sent to the lab and what order it should be processed. Investigator using a holistic approach to the scene while gathered evidence prioritize each time by assessing its value based on the level of identification it may provide. Learn more about crime scene investigation. Trace examiners use tools such as tweezers, tape, specialized vacuum swabs, alternate light sources, and lasers to find and collect trace evidence. Following the principles of proper crime scene investigation, the collecting materials are packaged, documented, and sent to a crime laboratory for analysis. Tools used in trace evidence collection. So we have an alcohol, swab pointed knife, forensic ruler, tweezers, razor blade.
Good day, sir. My name is Clef Jesus C. Casuna, Bachelor of Science in Criminology, Section Bravo. My topic is all about the cyber forensic. Cyber forensic techniques will conduct in investigation, analysis of evidence. Computer forensic and specialists use virus technique. There are a few examples. Deleted files covering this technique involves the recovering and restoring files or fragments deleted by a person, ethics accidentally or deliberately or by a virus or malware. Reverse steganography, the process of the attempting of hide data use a digital message or file is called steganography. Reverse steganography happens when a computer forensic specialist look at the hashing of the message of the file contents. Hashing is string of data which change when a message or file is intertwined with. So number 2, a cross-drive analysis. This is a technique involves the analysis data across and multi-computer drives. Strategies like the corrections and cross-referencing are used to compare event for the computer-to-computer direct to normalize. So live analysis. In this technique involves analysis a running computer volatile data, which is data stored in RAM, random access memory, or cache memory. This is help pinpoint the cause of abnormal computer traffic. Is cyber forensics is a good career? According to statistics from Insurance Information Institute, cybercrime is continually rising, result in serious economic cost of individuals and countries. Consequently, jobs in computer forensic are more prevalent than even the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics (BL) is predict an 8% growth and rate from computer system analysis career between 2021 and 2031.
Good day, sir. My name is Sir A. Padre Jr. from BS Criminology 2, Section Bravo. Today we will discuss what is cyber forensic. What is cyber forensic? The science collecting, inspecting, interrupting, reporting, and presenting computer-related electronic evidence is known as cyber forensic. Evidence can be found on the hard drive or deleted files. Ang cyber forensic sa mga related gapon sa mga computer nga ang uban evidence makita nato sa hard drive or sa mga deleted na files. It is the process of examining occurring in analyzing data from a system or device so that it can be transcribed into physical documentation and presented into court. Na pwede siya naman i-examine nila itong ginakuha sa hard drive ng mga files, i-examine na niya, pwede ito ma-transcribe to into physical evidence sa court. During the inspection, it is critical to create a digital or soft copy of the system. During the inspection daw, isod daw kay mabuhat ka ng digital nga soft copy nga gikan sa system. The purpose of carrying our detailed cyber forensics investigation is to determine who is to blame for a security breach. The entire inquiry is carried out on the software copy while ensuring that the system is not affected. Cybersecurity in collaboration with ENICT, IAT, Guwahati, learn more. In the technological age, cyber forensics is an inevitable factor that is incredibly important. How are cybersecurity and digital forensics related? Cybersecurity aims to reduce the risk of cyber attacks and protect against unauthorized exploitation of systems, networks, and technologies. While digital forensics focuses on the recovery and investigation of artifacts found on a digital device, cyber forensic scope as everything becomes digitalized. The scope of cyber forensic expand. It assists us in combating hostile action by identifying underlying perpetrators. The evidence gathered during inquiries aids cybersecurity specialists is locating the hackers and crackers. The role of cyber forensic expert is becoming much more crucial nowadays due to the increase in cybercrime. According to NCRB, cybercrime has doubled from 2016 to 2018. It is predicted to increase as much as 4 times than the present day. This shown the importance of law enforcement in solving cybercrime in cyber expert facing various cyber forensics challenge. That's all sir, muna yung mga related sa cyber forensics. That's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Princess Jamada Mobis Criminology Section Bravo, and now I am going to discuss the importance and types of cyber forensics. Why is cyber forensics important? Cyber forensics becomes more relevant daily as the world becomes increasingly digitally connected. Ang cyber forensics daw ay may kaugnay sa pang-araw-araw at naggagamit ito lalo na sa panahon ngayon na pinapaligiran na tayo ng teknolohiya o klaseng-klaseng digital na gamit. The management of digital evidence is critical for solving cybercrimes and recovering important compromised data. Ang pamamahala ng digital ng mga ebidensya daw ay nagagamit para sa paglutas ng mga cyber na krimen, halimbawa paghahack. A computer forensics investigator job is to collect, examine, and safeguard this evidence. So ito yung mga dahilan kung bakit importante ang cyber forensics. And now let's move on to types of cyber forensics. Cyber forensics always involves gathering and analyzing evidence from digital sources. Ang cyber forensics daw ay nagsusuri ng ebidensya mula sa mga digital na mapagkukunan. So here are some common types of cyber forensics. First is this database forensics. Ito yung pagbawi at pagsusuri ng data o metadata na matatagpuan sa database. Pangalawa, email forensics. Pagbabawi at pagsusuri ng mga mensahe, kontak, kalendaryo, at iba pang impormasyon sa isang email platform. Mobile forensics. Pagbawi at pagsusuri ng data tulad ng mga mensahe, larawan, video, audio file, at mga kontak mula sa mga mobile device. Memory forensics. Pagbawi at pagsuri ng data na nakaimbak sa RAM ng isang computer o tinatawag na random access memory. Network forensics. Ito yung paggamit ng mga tool upang sabaybayan ang trapiko sa network tulad ng mga intrusion detection system at mga firewall. And lastly, malware forensics. Ito yung pagsusuri ng code upang matukoy ang mga nakakahamak na program tulad ng mga virus, ransomware, o Trojan horse. And I guess this is our discussion ends now, so thank you for watching.
Good day, sir. I am Royal B. Alcasin Jr. from BS Criminology Section Bravo. Today, I will report about the cyber forensics. So, cyber forensic, the science of collecting, inspecting, interpreting, and reporting and presenting computer-related electronic evidence is known as cyber forensic. So, ang cyber forensics, mauni siya ang science nga naka-kolekta or naga-inspections or naga-interpret or naga-report siya or naga-compile siya through gigamit nila ang mga computers o para makuhaan siyang evidence. Evidence can be found in the hard drive or deleted files. So, ang mga evidence, bisan pag i-delete mo na siya, makita gihapon na siya sa trash or sa deleted files o sa mga hard drive. So, what is cyber forensic? Cyber forensic is the discipline of studying digital sources to find reliable evidence of a serious data security incidents. So, ang cyber forensic daw kay mo ni siya ang pagdisiplina og nag-study about digital sources nga makita didto pod ang mga evidence ug ang mga data.
A cyber forensic investigation involves looking for clues. So cyber forensics apil na dira ang pagtan-aw o pagpangita sa mga evidence from the sources such as physical device, network logs, database, and cloud services. So, cyber forensic investigator. A forensic investigator retrieves and makes sense of the information contained on computer system. So the cyber forensic investigator kay make sense sa information sa computer system. The storage, device, and electronic documents and files. Example of cyber forensic. Computer forensic lab expert forensically analyze all types of data stored in computer hard drives. So, example ani is katong computer nga na dito nila gina compile ang mga data or mga evidence sa hard drives. Tara ang USB, memory sticks, cloud space, social media, camera, and mobile phones to find relevant digital evidence. For example, by using cell site analysis, we can track where a phone owner has been. So, bisag unsa pa nagagamit basta na siya tracker, matrack mo siya. Muna siya ang cyber forensic. That's all and thank you.
Good day, sir. I am Bartolome Bungan, Best Criminology, second year student from Section Bravo. My topic is all about types of ballistic. Ballistic is classified into four types. They are internal ballistic, transitional ballistic, external ballistic, terminal ballistic. So, internal ballistic or um, internal ballistic, it is also known as the initial ballistic or interior ballistic. Internal ballistic deals with what takes place in a duration of about 2 milliseconds from the point of firing the pin or striker to the exit of the bullet through the muzzle end of the barrel. Then, transitional ballistic, it is also known um, as intermediate ballistic. It involves the mediator be- between two regimes, internal and external ballistic. Intermediate ballistic is a process that initiates soon after the propagations of a bullet. Then, let's proceed to the external ballistic. External ballistic, it is concerned what the flight of the bullet after leaving in the barrel. It is the second phase of the studies the conditions when the bullet is about to hit the target and leaves the projectile. The last is the terminal ballistic. The last phase of the ballistic is known as terminal ballistic. It is deals with the impact of projectiles. This helps to understand how one can know about the one-lead ballistic. That's all. Thank you.
Ballistics. It usually refers to the movement of an object through space. It refers to the projectiles fired from weapons. Examples: bullets, nets.
Good day, sir. I'm Kayla Chidongdong from Bachelor of Science in Criminology to Bravo from Group 4. So, what does terminal ballistic mean? Terminal ballistic is the study of how projectile behaves when it hits its target and transfers its kinetic energy to the target. The bullet's design as well as its impact velocity plays a huge role in how the energy is transferred. So what's mean of permanent cavity? The hole left by the passage of the projectile is proportional to the size of the projectile. This is the volume of space once occupied by tissue which has been destroyed. Cavities function of the penetration and frontal area of the projectile which makes it. So what's mean of temporary cavity? Temporary cavity, the temporary expansion or stretch of the permanent cavity in an outward, radial, centrifugal direction of the path of the bullet caused by kinetic energy transfer. So, sonic shockwave. A sonic boom is a sound associated with shock waves created when an object travels through the air faster than the speed of sounds. Sonic booms generate enormous amount of sound energy, sounding similar to an explosion or thunderclap to the human ear. A decibel is the primary unit measurement of sound. Internal ballistics, also interior ballistics. A subfield of ballistics is the study of the propulsion of a projectile. In guns, internal ballistics covers the time from the propellant's ignition until the projectile exits the gun barrel. So, exterior ballistic is the branch of the science that deals with the projectile after it clears the muzzle and throughout its time of fight.
Good day everyone, I am Sermon Obado from Bachelor of Science in Criminology 2nd Year Section Bravo. And in this video, I will be going to explain the forensic ballistic. But what is forensic ballistic? Forensic ballistic involves examination of evidence from firearms that may have been used in crime. When a bullet is fired from a gun, the gun leaves microscopic marks on the bullet and on the cartridge case. These marks are like ballistic fingerprints. Forensic ballistics. It is a science of analyzing firearms usage in crimes. It involves analysis of bullets' impact to determine information of use to a court or other part of legal system. There are 4 types of ballistics. 1 is the internal ballistics, the second is the transitional ballistics, the third is external ballistic, and the last one is thermal ballistic. Now let me explain the internal ballistic. Internal ballistic is also known as initial ballistics or interior ballistics. Internal ballistics deals with what takes place in a duration of about 2 milliseconds from point of firing, the pin or striker, to the exit of the bullet through the muzzle of the barrel. It is the first phase that involves analysis of propulsion in the flight of projectiles. Now let me explain the transitional ballistics. It is also known as intermediate ballistics. It involves the mediator between 2 regimes, the internal and external ballistics. Intermediate ballistic is a process that initiates soon after the propagation of a bullet. It deals with the study of behavior of the projectiles from propagation to the time it gets equalization of pressure. External ballistics. It is considered with the flight of the bullet after leaving the barrel. It is second phase that studies the condition when the bullet is about to hit the target and leaves the projectile. It analyzes the path of the projectile. Terminal ballistics. The last phase of ballistic is known as terminal ballistic. It deals with the impact of projectiles. This helps to understand how one can know about wounded ballistic. Also, the father of forensic ballistic is Calvin Hooker Goddard. He uses the advanced system of matching bullets and casings to gun at a first-of-a-kind Northwestern-based crime lab. And that would be all. Thank you.